We are live back down here at 100 Kellogg's Lane, set up in the clubhouse, the official home. If you haven't seen the show in a while, better get used to it. This is where you're going to find us, not only all summer long, because we spent some time here basically all weekend, but all winter long, all football season long. And I got to tell you, there is enough stuff in here to do to keep yourself occupied.
So I'm going to give you a heads up. Remember how we said, I think we're on a 3-second delay?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are on more than that. Full blown, I was like, go. And that's when the beat starts.
Oh, okay, cool.
So still working out some kinks.
Yeah. The technical kinks are there. We're going to get to the bottom of this thing. It's our preseason, too. NFL preseason's happening. It's our preseason.
We're like 4-string quarterbacks right now, just learning the offense.
Barely even 4-string quarterbacks. I can see Liam playing around with the profiles and seeing where we're at. I can see part of his computer on here. It's an absolute disaster, but I'll tell you what was not a disaster. Our cornhole tournament yesterday.
Number 2.
Yeah. So number 2, first one was the first annual. Second one was 2 months later. I don't know if you know what the word annual means, but we're supposed to do it once a year. We did it once every other month. Weather pushed us into the beer kitchen, but what a cool venue. Hadn't really been there before. Massive. Lots of people floating around.
The craziest part about it coming inside was when we were outside in the courtyard, massive space. No trouble wrangling people. We were in a controlled place. It was like chaos in there sometimes.
Yeah. It was almost harder.
Yeah. I felt like I worked harder in a smaller area.
Yeah. And our guy, Kalen, he's not here today.
You got to give him the day off.
We got a blank chair, but he did a lot of mic work and a lot of bracket work. And, Liam behind the scenes was making sure people were registered and making sure all the official stuff was actually getting taken care of, which is obviously important. It's not something that we're going to do. We do not have the attention span to sit there and get everyone registered. So shout out to Liam, who is probably sitting by his computer with his pants around his ankles as we speak.
Yeah. Also, we talk about how official and non-official that tournament was yesterday.
Yeah.
It was officially not official.
There were some people that showed up official.
Yeah. It did not help your cornhole rankings at all.
Yeah, we were not sanctioned.
It was definitely not sanctioned.
No.
I have a feeling at a sanctioned tournament, we cannot drink as much as what happened at yesterday's venue. Like, I feel like there'd be a rule against beer on the court.
But now that you brought up beer, how nice was it? And that was my second experience going from tank to glass. So I didn't even know what that was. We found out here, but that is literally, they pour it from the place where they brew it, the vat that they brew it from, right into the glass. There's no kegging, there's no bottling, there's no canning. It's just as pure as it can get.
Yeah, and I had a few of them.
Yeah.
We had a couple.
I didn't feel bad this morning.
I was not hungover today.
Maybe it was the preservatives.
Could be.
I don't know.
I'm not a scientist.
Yeah, you don't have to sell me on that
No
one.
disclaimer.
Yeah. We get it.
Crazy weekend, though. Obviously, cornhole was sweet for us.
Yeah.
Second week of preseason happened. Some guys got names, like Jaden Daniels got named starting quarterback today. I don't think that was a surprise to anybody.
Yeah.
It was funny last week. Kayla and I were talking about what's going on in Minnesota, and literally we'd gone off air, and all of a sudden JJ McCarthy said, "No Moz."
Yeah.
We're shutting them down for the year.
Well, that that was an interesting one. So when it comes down to that guy, everybody was already skeptical and thinking that Darnold was going to get the job. The Vikings come out and say it's a not serious injury. They just want to take it easy, and then an hour later, he's out for season.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can get to that point and miss that so drastically, but Minnesota had a big whiff. Jordan Addison also got hurt. Same time frame. It seems like he's going to be back within a few weeks, but the Vikings were just given a few death blows.
One actually was, no pun intended.
Oh.
Yeah, they had a quarterback die.
Oh, shit. That is not the direction I was going. I did not know that.
I was like, wow, man. Even for us.
Yeah, that's dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies to his family. That's not our intentions.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that was a thing. That's great.
Two starting corners out for the season.
Well, and they went out and got Stephon Gilmore for $10 million, which I'm not sure why you'd pay a 36-year-old corner $10 million, but Minnesota is trying to grasp at straws and make sure that they get what they can get. Uh, they aren't the team that they aren't the team that's surprised. You can just come on in if you want. Aidan from PerShots is here.
Yeah.
We didn't. He's not late. What's up, bro? We just got started.
Yeah, he's got to start.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
So we'll get you mic'd up. We're just talking a little bit of football right now. You got his mic?
I got his point.
Yeah. All right, Chad will get you mic'd up. I think the biggest surprise as far as the quarterback scene goes was Minshew getting the nod over Aidan O'Connell. And when you think about it, it's not a crazy stretch because Antonio Pierce has to make his statement. They got Minshew for 2 years. Their receivers are just kind of like getting settled. Everything's going okay. They don't have a running game. You don't really have the ability to just look past Minshew when he probably gives you your best chance to win. You got some receivers. You got a tight end.
You know who's going to sling it? He's not going to play safe. He plays reckless. The fans are going to love him down in Vegas. Yeah. He's more of a character guy, I think, for the locker room. The team will rally behind him. Yeah, so we have the Aidan here.
Yeah.
I don't know if preseason can hold because preseason. Anybody who watches us knows Aidan on our show. So many times.
Premier sports photographer in London.
He went down to Detroit with us, shot some stuff with us at the Bowling Green game.
Yep.
And he's back in. You just had a big video come out this weekend.
I did.
So yeah, how was your summer, man? Before we jump into the video, because I know football season, it's wild for you.
Yeah, and that's coming up now, so that's a whole other topic we can talk about later. Summer's been a bit slow, nothing really, just a bunch of AAU stuff, did some OSFL stuff, followed Junior Stangs with their championship this summer, so congrats to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not much really going on this summer. It's just been kind of just work where I can get and just make the most of it.
Yeah, so you were at Junior Stangs. Obviously, they had a massive run this year.
Yep.
Were you helping out with like Football TV London then, or was you doing your own thing with them?
No, I'm just doing my own thing, like going out when I can, when they had home games. So did a few videos for them, did really well. And, you know, I know a lot of the guys on that team from this past year in football season and then just upcoming now. It was nice to see like the guys who are leaving because I know a few guys going to like Windsor, Queens, like unis out in Toronto. I know guys going out there, so it was nice to just watch them play for that last time, and then just to see them end it with a ring.
Yeah, and it's got to be cool for you because like these guys already said, "Hey, like I need you this season."
Yeah, some guys have asked, but it's been going to be a busy season. So we're going to see what's going to happen because, you know, last year I was really making the name for myself and, you know, people were getting into it more at the end of the season. So this year you got the fan base, you know, you got the people who want to work. So it's just going to be first come, first serve. Really.
Yeah. Have you put a team together then, or is it still going to just be you at those games?
So I have a team, but so I have another videographer, I have an editor. So like I try to balance it, but at the end of the day, people will always know me as PerShots.
Yeah.
So it's if they want me, it's hard to get me out there because honestly, last year it was easy. You know, I could go anywhere I want. No one knew me. Now I go to Junior Stangs game, I'll get recognized from the moment I walk in to the moment I leave. So
you put out the best mixtape for the whole football season. Like that's a good problem to have.
Well, it's a great problem and I love it, but at the end of the day, I'm still trying to do my job, you know?
Yeah.
So you said you did it from the AAUs?
Yeah.
Around? Is that Strive basketball then?
Yeah, so Strive, that's where this big video comes from. They were in CNIT a few weeks ago. The biggest basketball tournament in Canada. It's an invitation-only tournament.
I'm so glad you said that because I had no idea what you were talking about.
Right?
You know, CNIT literally stands for Canadian National Invitation Tournament.
Oh,
so
I should read more.
But yeah, so it's the biggest tournament in Canada. So there's teams from like Newfoundland, Alberta, Vancouver. There was a team from Barbados. and
Wow.
Texas. So I don't know where the Canadian part came from, but I don't know how those two teams got there. But it's great experience.
How'd the boys from London do?
So they made a run. They had a really stacked team. They had a bunch of guys from schools across London. A guy going to Western, guy going to PerShots next year. A few guys returning back to school. And they had a really stacked team, and they got to Final Four. Unfortunately, they finished in that fourth spot, but a few things happened. I definitely think they could have medaled, but a few things happened that led to just unfortunately not being able for it to happen.
Well, once you kind of like lose your momentum when you have all that stuff going forward, it's hard to pick it back up, right?
Yeah, because so they got into quarterfinals, and ended up they got into semifinals. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
They ended up playing the team from Texas, and then they lost. So they got pushed into the bronze medal game. Still, a medal, and the biggest tournament, over 50, I think 60 teams in it. But just a bunch in between that semifinal game and that bronze medal game, a lot happened, and it's just at the end of the day, they had 5 guys to play that in that bronze medal game.
Oh wow.
So
so you're not kidding. Some stuff happened.
No.
Some things like that. We are not on Rogers TV. You want to talk about it? But if you can't talk about it, that's all good.
I don't know. For me, like from an outside perspective, I don't know what happened. I'm not gonna say much on it because every guy has their own opinion on it, but just guys didn't want to play in it. They went in there for gold and they got pushed to bronze. So in my head, I was like, you're still playing for something. It's not like you got booted in pool play.
Yeah.
And, you traveled for nothing. You got to Final Four. Play for it. Make it worth. Make your name out there. At the end of the day, people always will know gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna remember fourth.
Yeah.
So that's how I seen it. But guys thought differently, obviously. So,
well, everyone's planning for the future, I guess. But I mean, they lost to a team in Texas, so it's safe to say they're top 3 in Canada.
100%.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd say top 2, and they ain't 2.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like, so this same team that they had for CNIT, they had for NPH, which is North Pole Hoops. It's just the biggest, it's the biggest structured tournament in Ontario, I'd say. And they won that in winter this past season.
Okay.
And so I definitely say they take any team in Canada. I am very close with all the players on that team.
Yeah.
So, obviously I think highly of them, but I watch these guys play, and then I just also know them on like a friendship, personal level. So it's like, it's more than just how their game speaks. It's the chemistry, it's the bond they have, and like they'll keep it real with each other. They won't make another guy happy. They'll tell him like, yo, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. So
right.
It's a great team they have, and it's sad. It was very emotional for me because it's the last time I got to see them play together. Because like I said,
they'd rather be disbanded.
Yeah.
One's going off to uni, one's to college. Other guys are going back for 5th years, but I don't know what the future looks like for them.
Yeah.
So what's this video that you made then?
So this is a documentary. It's the longest video I ever produced. It's an hour and a half.
Oh wow.
And it's on my YouTube. So if you haven't watched it yet and you want to, PerShots on YouTube. Before I spoil anything.
I'll tell Liam to go share it in the comments right now.
So so it's an hour and a half. It released on Saturday night.
Okay.
And it basically just followed their whole story up until the tournament. So I went to multiple practices, and we got everything going up to that point. And then it followed them throughout the tournament. So from they had 3 pool play games. Then, however, their run in the playoffs went. I believe it was 3 playoff games they had. Yeah. So they had 6 games, and it follows that entire thing. And in my head, this was meant to be a really big production because, they were going to win a medal. They were going to, have celebrations, this, that, the other thing. It didn't go to plan at all.
Yeah.
It didn't. So in my head, I really had to think of something. I was like, okay, I need to, I had over 40 hours of footage from this, from this project. I was like, I'm not going to not do something with it. I need to make something. So in my head, I thought about it. I was like, if it's these guys' last time playing together, let me not make this about winning and about a celebration. Let me make it as something special to them. and try to just invoke emotion. So the ending of the documentary, for me especially, since I know them on that personal level, is very sad. And I watched the ending probably 6, 7 times, and I shed a tear each time.
Yeah.
But you could see just how much, like those 5 guys that were left at the end there with Coach, you could see how much it meant to Coach because, um, he loves all those guys, and he wishes everyone the best. And Coach H, he is one of the most genuine human beings I have ever met in my entire life.
Who
So,
is that coach, sorry?
Coach Inario, Coach H,
Oh, okay.
Strike Hoops. He
Does he coach local basketball like at high school level or?
so he only does Strive, which is
Okay.
AAU, but he like his son and daughter go to MTS, so he's
Okay.
at a lot of MTS games, and you'll see him around the city, just because he is a very personal coach. He's like a father figure to a lot of these guys.
Okay.
So you'll see him around everywhere at his other players' games. Like he'll go to different high school games. He was at Western the other day. They had a preseason game, and we're watching Raekwon Price. He's going to Western this year. Um, so it's a personal bond he has with all his players, and that's what made this ending to me so special because it was kind of watching this team, close its chapter.
Yeah, right.
Move on as everyone's kind of going their own way.
Yeah.
So like, obviously, now I gotta watch it. I gotta see the ending now.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go straight to the ending, or you gotta watch the entire?
I'm not gonna tell you what you do. You're gonna find out.
Yeah, for anybody keep watching. We're gonna make sure that we share this out to you. Don't feel the need to go fumble around. But yeah, go ahead, John.
Obviously, like that going forward, and like now, like those guys, like they're not gonna go back to the high school football, basketball. So probably next year, some will play football as well. Like, are those the guys like you're excited to watch play at those games? So you just make more tapes for them, more mixtapes.
Like for high school teams?
Yeah.
Definitely. Like there's a few guys. But honestly, a lot of guys, the guys on that team are so good. They have so many options. So like, I don't know the full story yet. Like I know some guys have like prep school offers, so some might be gone. So I know a few guys staying in London. So at the end of the day, for me, when it comes to working with like my friends and people that I truly know, for me, it's just getting them the exposure.
Yeah.
Because I've had many people reach out to me and say, your videos have helped me get recruited. Your videos have helped this happen for me,
Right.
and you've made my dreams come true. It's like for me, at the end of the day, that's the most satisfaction I can get from it. So I know a few guys who I really want to help because I know like they're at the level they can play at any level, I believe. So it's just getting that eyes on
Well, like I remember the video you posted of Andre last year, hurdling a guy and going to the house. Like I was at that game live, and I was like, and like I remember I bet you was like, please tell me you got this.
Yeah.
And I think everybody in the city was like, please tell me this kid got this one.
Yeah.
Like that thing, I think everybody in Ontario saw that video.
Oh yeah,
If not Canada, that thing
it's-
got a
yeah.
lot of play.
I think it's one of my biggest viewed clips on my Instagram, and it was one of my fastest growing clips. I think it was like 20K views in like a few hours.
Damn.
Which is crazy. I've never had that.
Well, you see that you can't not share it, right? So
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I said that to everybody. And I was like, yo, this kid is going back to high school still.
Yeah, it's kind of unfair.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a grown man.
yeah, and the season is around the corner, and for me, it might just be because we were paying more attention to it, but it seems like the schedule was released a little bit earlier this year than last year.
Yeah. I don't really know. I know a few of the insights on it, but not everything. But I think just this year, it's far more organized.
Yeah.
And like I think this year teams have a lot more sense of where they can stand where with other teams. Last year I think South was an underdog last year.
I think that's where that blows everybody's mind. It's like South wasn't expected to win last year.
And then
Yeah.
you look at them this year and they're like, you know what? They're top dog last year. They won everything. But they're still there this year because they have so many returning guys.
Yeah, they're ready to act like 13 starters.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, Andre's back. I know Chase Smith's back. Drake Logan's back. Like those are three guys who just won.
Those are like all Ontario Team O kids.
Yeah.
and that won that. And like so, some of those kids probably could have played Team Canada.
100%. Andre definitely should have.
Andre and Chase easily. Drake's still a bit young. Like he's only going into grade 12.
Yeah, but Drake has so much star potential.
Oh, I'm aware. Drake Logan, if you're listening, we've been talking for 2 years, man. I saw you before everybody else did.
Yeah.
Come play for me. Help me.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the season, like you said, it's far more prepared, and it might be because this is really the second true season that isn't interrupted by any type of like shutdowns or like restrictions on anything going on. So
Definitely. And I don't want to, toot my own horn here, but I feel like I did contribute a little bit.
Yeah.
To it
Yeah, you can say you did. That's all right. You can give yourself flowers.
because
You brought a lot of attention to high school football.
I think, yeah, honestly, I did bring because for me, it was just starting last year with the few games that the beef feeders hold at Citywide for preseason. I think it was
Yeah, I was there.
CCH Bansing and South, some other teams.
That's when they first saw Andre. Like I was away. I was actually in BC coaching.
Okay.
And they're
Like
like,
a team from Owen Sound or something that drove down, and then I saw them get off the bus, and I was like, they're not ready.
and he like, I got a text message saying, "You have to see this kid."
Yeah, no,
But yeah, the first game he was the quarterback, and then he played outside on the edge, and then he punted. I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit ridiculous now.
Yeah. Honestly, Andre, as a human being, Andre, I love him. He's just such a character to be around. And then you see him on a football field, it's like a different guy. It's a different animal.
That guy's a menace.
Yeah,
He's gonna make some university coach very proud. Wherever he chooses to go, whether it's I think he has an opportunity to play in the South, down South, go for it, go do it. Well, there's gonna be if he does it, every school in Canada is gonna try to get
100%.
well, and he's fortunate. Like Denning is a great mentor, a great guy to have around you, and like that guy. And I can tell you from experience, he will not let you make a bad decision. Like you could try and make one, he will not let it stand. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Like I always laugh. I'm like, we're so spoiled in London. Like we have Western here, and like they have a high GPA that you have to get in there.
Yeah.
That being said, there's certain kids that you're not letting leave home.
Yeah.
There's probably 4 kids on that team, 5 kids that Western's not letting. Like they're gonna go play for Stenning, they're going straight to play for Greg Marshall.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like let it ride. Let the boys stay home, and like the season itself. Like we're excited to get out there a little bit and like see what's going on. And we kind of watched last year's season unfold. We came to some games, but we watched most of it unfold through what you were posting. So, has anybody already tried to book you up? I know your time is tight, so like they got their schedules.
People ask, no official bookings yet. I don't really like to take bookings this early when it comes to such a busy time. And then I have other things I'm going on, other business inquiries I'm working on.
Okay.
So,
Anything you want to talk about or not?
nothing I can say on air.
Okay.
But definitely just some things that'll get in the way. But I'm gonna just try. Like last year for me, I was trying to start a business and make a name for myself, get the exposure. So for this year, honestly, the main thing I'm trying to look at is just giving back to the community, because the community in London has given me so much.
Yeah.
It's given me an opportunity. I've traveled across the U.S. last year. I will this upcoming year more. So, I just want to give back as much. So I'll definitely just be at games,
Yeah.
I'll be at the Beef Eaters night coming up where they have a few great games. I believe one is CCH Laurier.
Yeah, and they're all exhibition, right? So like they don't count
they
against the record, but I don't think that those kids are gonna realize that that's exhibition. I think they're gonna be geeked up to play that.
Oh, 100%. Well, yeah, high school football. Honestly, for me, it's the best football there is.
I can say like from experience, like I watched football all over the country. We are so spoiled in London.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize it because we take it for granted.
Yeah.
We just know it. I will take a team from London and put them against any part of the country. And I know we're going to win.
Yeah.
Like we have guys.
Or at least like you're not gonna like you can stack up against anybody.
Anybody. Any high school in Canada.
Yeah.
I know you took the winner from London. They could stack up against one win.
Yeah,
Have you like Junior Mustangs prove that? Like they lost a close one to Windsor, who's another great football powerhouse in Ontario. But then they came and they cleaned everybody out in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's from like we have so many power schools. Like we talked about this last year when Krauski came on.
Yeah.
So from CCH. CCH was the 5th or 6th best team in London last year. No offense, guys, if you're listening, but like that was a rebuild year for them.
yeah.
Well, and they still went to the semis as like that's your rebuild. Like that's how spoiled we are.
Thing I love to see now, especially with the high school, is every school has like a training camp now.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to see like every school will have like 50, 60 guys out there, senior, junior, whatever it is. And it's just a nice way to, bring that community together.
Yeah.
And, so even for the schools that like you would have lower down, you wouldn't think much of, they're still putting in the effort to, try and be there. Like a team I can think about is MTS, although it is my
Yeah.
father.
A little close to the heart. A little close to the heart.
But, for my years when I was there, I'm so sorry, Cortezi, for saying this. Football team was so bad. It was so bad. But last year they were in tier 2 last year, and they were undefeated. So they're back in tier 1 this year. And I genuinely do think with the things they've put together, they can definitely be like, I won't say they're not going to be a powerhouse. They're not going to be a South like TCH, but I think they can definitely be like a mid-tier team.
And like that's all you can really have when you're making that climb from tier 2 up into tier A, tier 1, whatever you want to call it. It's not going to be an overnight transition. You got to climb that ladder back up, which is always tough. A team like MTS, like our guy Coach Darling over at Oak Ridge, who's been phenomenal with us.
Yeah.
Since this whole thing, like they got bumped up.
Yeah.
That division's looking pretty stacked then.
Yeah, and like they had a great season last year. They fell short. A bad injury is basically what
they
lost their star running back in the finals. So, but yeah, seeing them like bump up, like okay, like we got some dogs here in the fight.
Yeah, I definitely think MTS and Oak Ridge, both coming up from tier 2, like they want to prove like it wasn't just like
fluke.
Yeah, it wasn't just because we're facing all these country schools, we're winning. It's like, like we do have something to prove. And I definitely think, some teams will lose guys and they'll have that little fall off. And then some teams will now come up and like show like, hey, we're in this too now. I definitely still think if I have to give a prediction of what my top 2 would be, it would probably be South CCH. Just because I know
Deloria.
I thought they lost a lot of guys.
They did, okay.
But how I see it is CCH was very young.
Yeah.
They almost have that entire team, I believe, still together from last year.
Yeah.
Which I think contributes a lot to this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think CCH only lost like 3 or 4 starters. They were a very grade 11 heavy team last year.
Well, we went out there. We saw them play Banting, and the Banting team looked good. I don't know if they're returning.
Yeah, they lost everybody.
They lost everybody, so they might not be as good.
Yeah. I think the only guys returning for Banting is Emmett, Charles, Team O guy, their QB Jackson McKay, and those are the only 2 guys at the top of my head.
I know they lost their full offensive line.
Yeah, and those are some big boys.
Those were some massive boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, like once again, just so spoiled here in London. We do have to talk some NFL, so Aidan.
I could punch in a little.
Yeah,
you can say
I'm a hockey fan, so
that's okay. Yeah, that's okay because they're one of the teams that's on this quarterback list. We were talking Raiders, and we were talking about Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Any surprise that Gardner Minshew gets named the starter over Aidan O'Connor?
He already did. They did it yesterday.
No, I'm saying, is there any surprise to you that?
Oh, sorry.
Not at all, to be honest. I think Gardner has played at that level already. And I think it was last year he was on the Colts, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And even then, like, he still had moments to show like he can play at that starting level.
They almost went to the playoffs.
Yeah. They were a bad football team, and he got them within striking distance.
Yeah.
So I definitely think I think honestly when it comes to a QB, it really just comes down to the coaching environment you're surrounded with. And hopefully he can get that in Vegas. I'm not too sure though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know 100% who their quarterback coach is, but I would say give Minshew his chance. And worst case scenario, you're picking in the top 5 next year, and you get a nice pick out of it. And if you're out of it, trade away Devontae Adams at week 8 or something,
Yeah.
and see what else you can get
I
for.
would love to see the trash talk though between him and Max Crosby.
Yeah,
Because like there's a video last year that like I think that's like 10 million views of Max Crosby calling him a little ass boy the whole game.
yeah,
So that'd be awesome. But I saw something that came out Saturday. Max Crosby's actually being benched in practice because he's causing too much disruption to the offense. As in,
I
like
mean,
their
I don't even
plays
know how.
getting developed.
Yeah, how do you even react to that? Like, if you're a fan, like, is your offensive line so bad?
Like you can't run a slant.
Or is that one guy just so good?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
But I was like, wow, like they're benching him in practice because their group one offense cannot get plays off.
yeah. Well, and that's it. And like when you start thinking quarterback controversies, you had the Raiders. I don't really know why people were after your boy Geno Smith, but like it seemed like people were after him in the offseason. Now that the training camp is there, he's actually asking for a new contract. I don't know if you know anything about any of that situation.
Honestly, I don't know what to think about Gino sometimes.
He's a band-aid.
Yeah, but he's like a 5-year band-aid.
He had that amazing first season after Rush got traded, and then last year, sometimes he just looked like nothing.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
looked like,
He looked like a backup. He didn't look like he knew how to play a full game of football. And then so far this year, I've watched a few preseason games, and I've read a lot of articles, and like I follow a few Seahawks like fan accounts on Insta, and people are saying start Sam Howell over him.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, Sam Howell's, I believe he's 23.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of development you can do there.
like that guy was slinging it in Washington. He had a bad rap, but he had no help in Washington.
Yeah, you're right.
And then, especially now with the Seahawks having a whole new coaching staff,
Yeah.
I think that can add to it. So I feel like this year, if Gino is our starter coming week 1, and if he doesn't show out, I can definitely see him being benched.
Yeah.
Because
you got the receivers.
Oh, 100%. You have the receivers, you have the backfield.
Yeah.
Our O line is pretty good this year. So is the defense. So it really just comes down to that QB spot.
Yeah.
Because Sam Howell, he's young. He has a lot of potential, and I feel like he can definitely be a starter. So just given the opportunity, I think he can take over if Gino. That's what Gino did best.
You see a New York Jets, Gino, you got to run.
John.
And yes, like we had that. There's that one. Shane, I want to pick your brain on this. I do think that Russell is the day one starter. Do you think by week 5 it's Justin Fields' team?
So it's a very interesting question, and I mean, we have a Seahawks fan here, so he's seen the best of Russell Wilson. The best of Russell Wilson is beyond us, but I don't know if you saw the preseason game or saw the national narrative coming out of the preseason game, and that was basically that Russell Wilson's washed up when he was 8 for 10, and he got sacked 3 times because the Steelers' offensive line looked brutal.
He's used to that already.
Yeah, he looked brutal. But Justin Fields, because he's a little bit more mobile and he can break a tackle, Justin Fields looked like he was the better quarterback because he rushed for 50 yards. So the reason I don't believe that Justin Fields is the quarterback week 5 or even week 10, barring injury, is the trade is very unique that they made. It's a 6th-round pick. But if he plays more than 40% of the snaps, it becomes a 4th-round pick. So that puts a lot of extra pressure onto that guy that he did not do well with in Chicago. And I do not think he would do well within Pittsburgh. For his career and for us to maybe sign him for a couple years after, I think maybe next year he's a starter. Year after that, maybe he's a starter. Or if they're out of contention, they throw him in there. But this is Russell Wilson steering the ship until the wheels are off and the playoffs are out.
I definitely think sitting behind a guy like Russ, though, who's been in a bad situation, and I'll say it, Seahawks were terrible.
Yeah.
For those few years, but we also had moments in the playoffs. Russ won a Super Bowl for us, so I definitely think sitting behind Russ for this year or even just a few weeks of this year,
Yeah.
it definitely helped him.
Like, he's probably going to learn more from watching Russell Wilson for 1 year than he learned in 3 years in Chicago.
Well, he's taken more first team reps in training camp than Russ has. But I think that's for the coaching staff to get a look at him and try and correct some of his stuff. Like, I do think he's a long-term solution. Just this year, they have like the Ayuk saga that's out there that
Salt and salt. Like, I'm so sick of it.
Get him out of here.
yeah. Well,
Get him out of the West.
well, now like the trade offers are starting to get leaked of like what the Steelers are willing to give, and maybe that's making the 49ers look bad, which is maybe why they might pay him. But overall, yeah, like that situation, if it gets resolved, if Ayuk's in Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh automatically becomes a little bit better because they might throw the ball a little bit more. So Russ might have a little bit more time to shine. If they don't make that trade, I think that you're going to see Juju Smith-Schuster come back onto the Pittsburgh roster, and he might have 20 catches, and he'll just block the entire time out of the slot. So as far as the controversy, I think it's created by media, and it's created by people that want something to talk about. Because really, if you look at this offseason compared to like recent
It's been a
offseason,
boring offseason.
yeah, if it's not for like trying to decide if Russell Wilson or Justin Fields or where Brandon Ayuk's going to end up, I don't know what we would talk about in August.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Like, so what did we talk about today? Like,
I mean,
really,
like,
before
right now,
we got here, that was in the conversation. I was like, so nothing's happened. I said, Jalen Daniels got named starter. Like, that was the big news.
The only thing I could really think of is CD Lamb not getting paid yet.
Yeah, but he's been so quiet about it, which I mean, it's good on him.
Yeah.
But like because the Ayuk saga is like out there, it just seems like the CD Lamb thing is just swept under the rug. Which like at
I know,
least
I know he's sit in practice. That's it.
yeah, like
Well, he's not even
He's
showing
doing
up.
a whole.
that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
Ayuk is at least showing up to practice and staying on the sideline sometimes. CD Lamb, I don't even believe he's like in the building, or maybe he's just sitting in the training room.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
difference is the 49ers want to work out a deal. They're just trying to find that magic number.
Yeah,
The problem is they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy next year. And if I'm Brock Purdy, I take a team-friendly deal because that team is like ready to win.
well, Trent Williams wants a new contract too. So like you have Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Brock Purdy, like all of these guys are looking for money. Meanwhile, you're paying already Christian
Debo.
McCaffrey, and you're paying Debo 28. Well, I don't know if you're paying him 28 a year, but he counts against your cap for 28 a year.
Osa got paid.
So, and like you keep going down their defensive roster, and like their most eligible guy to cut without any dead money is Palomalu's nephew. I can't remember who.
Oh, okay.
The safety from USC, but there's no way they're gonna cut him. The guy was like an all-pro as a rookie.
Yeah,
So,
you get a cut Fred Warner.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
he was injured last year. So
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Is like you can't do that. Like that team is built. Do I think that they become not a Super Bowl contender because they trade away? I don't. Like they're gonna figure it out.
I will honestly say though, and this is, if you watch Receiver on Netflix,
I have not.
no, watch it. Have you seen it?
No, I keep watching Aidan's documentary.
Oh, okay.
I support.
Honestly, after watching that, I was like, "Oh shit, they got to resign him." When Debo wasn't able to go, their offense did not click if Ayuk wasn't going.
Yeah.
And like he was the one that held together in the NFC Championship game. They were getting slapped by the Lions.
Oh, they were. Yeah.
And it was Brandon Ayuk came back and led them as a receiver that game and got them back into it. In the Super Bowl, Debo couldn't really do too much. He's banged up all over again. And same thing, Ayuk was there making plays. So after watching that, I was like, shit. It's like, he should be the happiest man in the world when that thing came out.
Well, yeah, like for that, I like as a Steelers fan or just a football fan in general, like you should be trying to get as many good players on your team as possible. But like I'm not against the Steelers trying to trade for him. Like they're willing to give up a second, a third, and like a sixth over the next 2 years.
Are you willing to pay $33 million?
They already have a so
Are you willing to give them 33?
I don't work in the front office, so I'll be okay. And I don't got to pick up the tab. But like, if the 49ers say they can't reach a deal, the Steelers already have a trade in place and the contract in place. Like, it's done.
So
I'll take anything. I don't
yeah,
care.
I'll take 30. I'll take 30.
I just want him out of the NFC West.
Yeah.
So you weren't here last week. Obviously, you were away. With the Cowboys, Dak, Mika, and CD, one of them is not getting signed
Well,
because
it's
they
the dog at the bowl, right? It's gonna be Micah Parsons.
So I think CD's the odd man.
Who else do they have a receiver that they could be comfortable with to give a quarterback $50 million?
So my theory is they know they're not going to get him this year, and Jerry's going to let him go
Okay.
because he has 1 year left on his deal. He just wants to get paid now.
Yeah.
So either you don't play and we save money, and we're going to draft a receiver in the first round next year for nothing, and now I get to sign probably 1A or 1B, the best defensive player in the NFL.
Right.
I think him and TJ Watt are the two best players in football and defense.
Yeah.
And you can, depending on the day, one of them's a better player that week.
Well, yeah, and like, throwing like a Myles Garrett, but
I was about to say Myles Garrett is somewhere
Like,
there.
there's like 3 or 4 guys like that are the top defensive players.
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
And you're not going to give up your franchise quarterback, whether the fans love him or hate him. There's nothing better out there.
But the
It's
problem
easier
is,
to draft receiver than his quarterback.
if they aren't willing to pony up, the best they can do is franchise them, and then they get into a whole world of hurt.
Yeah.
Because 1 year $50 million deals are far different than 5 year $250 million deals.
And so, like, to me, it's like you're going to pay the pass rusher and you're going to pay your quarterback. CD doesn't want to play. Cool, sit out. We don't have to pay you all of a sudden.
There's still yet to be a team that wins the Super Bowl with a $28+ million receiver on their roster.
And I can go draft a kid in the first round and pay him nothing.
But if CD comes back and just plays the year out, like maybe he shows up late, which never usually pans out well. They usually get
That's a
hurt.
hamstring for sure.
Yeah, they get hurt or like they're just not in sync, whatever the case is. He'll get paid regardless. But the Cowboys aren't one of the lower half teams in the league or even the NFC. So I mean, they're competing for their division. So like if they're picking in the late 20s, can they be confident that they're going to get a receiver? Well, they're not going to get a receiver of CeeDee Lamb's like caliber. Or you can't be like, oh yeah, we're good. Like this, like the Minnesota Vikings and Buffalo Bills were the most even trade probably of all time. It was Stephon Diggs
For Justin Jefferson.
and then like now Stephon Diggs is gone. So like Minnesota looks great for that trade. But in the moment, it was like, okay, this actually worked out. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of Justin Jefferson sitting around in the early to mid 20s.
And I don't think anybody thought Justin was going to be Justin Jefferson. He was going to be a number 1 receiver. We knew that.
Now it's just like if you went to LSU, like let's draft you, like game on.
Yeah, that team was good.
They had some good receivers.
They were pretty good at football that year.
Yeah,
Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson wasn't the best receiver in the room.
Yeah.
At LSU.
And they have another kid that got drafted this year, Malik Neighbors, who I think is like, depending on if Daniel Jones can get off the ball, that guy is he's gonna turn some heads.
I hope so. I picked him up in fantasy.
Yeah. Actually, didn't they had 2 receivers picked in the first round this year, right?
Yeah.
Too? Like the other guy went to the Jags, Brian Thomas. It's like I don't know what they're doing to receivers down there, but yeah, like I don't know how that works out. I don't know if CeeDee Lamb walks. Maybe the Cowboys seem to just like pull it out of their ass like the last minute, right? Like
Somehow. That's why everyone hates the Cowboys.
yeah, they're gonna pay him. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not a big Cowboys fan. In fact, I'd go on record saying I hate the Cowboys. But to be in a position where you drafted 3 players that you have to give there's no max deal in football, but like you have to give them max deals. I think like
you're talking top percentile of
yeah,
position.
like top 3 for each of them. And to say that you drafted all those guys, you should feel pretty like fortunate that your front office found all of those guys.
Yeah, like I don't know, like you're looking at 90 million or 120 million between the 3 of them. That's a big hit on your cap though. And like San Francisco is going to be in the same boat.
Yeah.
And, like you got to pay to play the game. I get that, but at what cost?
Well, that's the problem. Is the 49ers have an incredibly poor cap situation for next year. Like right now, without any rollover or any contract being done, they start $40 million in the hole next year, and it doesn't get any better the year after that. So, yeah, like it does make you think that maybe John Lynch is dragging this thing out. They just know that they're moving on without Ayuk. And look, the Ayuk situation, and I don't know if you guys covered it. Like the interesting part is that the Browns and the Patriots were both in on this thing, and the Commanders at one point in time, which Ayuk and Jaden Daniels played together at Arizona State, way back in the day. But the Patriots actually had the highest contract for him and the best trade compensation.
He said no.
No chance. And then the Browns, because the Browns are the Browns, they say, we'll give you Amari Cooper and a second round pick and all this other stuff. And then, like, he's like, no, I'm not playing for the Browns either. But they've already reported that Amari Cooper's on the trade block for him. So now Amari Cooper's unhappy. Like, this guy makes what, $26, $27 million. Really had like 3 or 4 amazing weeks after Joe Flacco took over as their quarterback. And now you got Deshaun Watson coming back, who's a disaster. And you have just like your team in disarray because of all of this shit. Because you couldn't figure out that this guy wouldn't do your franchise as a joke.
The crazy part is like, how bad is like your franchise when you're offering top money to this guy? He's like, yeah, I'm not coming to play for you.
Yeah.
Like that's what like, if there's ever a way to get kicked in the balls as an owner, like that's it.
I mean, yeah, you look at Odell. What was the other receiver's name? I was playing with the same time as Odell. Jarvis Landry, I think it is.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry.
Yeah. You look at those two guys, both their careers are kind of gone.
Yeah.
Odell's on the Dolphins now, randomly.
And Jarvis Landry's retired. He's
So it's like, I don't know. I know a few Browns fans, and I tell them I'm sorry every day I see them.
Yeah,
It's literally the most mismanaged franchise in the world. Like in any professional sport.
Like I don't feel bad for the Browns fans. Like I feel bad for them, and like you should be mad at your parents. Because like I can tell you right now, there's not a Browns fan who woke up and was like, I'm gonna be a Browns fan. Right. Their parents told them they were gonna be Browns fans, and like they just set their kid for failure their whole life.
Why would you want to be a fan of a team named the Browns?
Yeah. And there was just nothing to cheer for. Like, how'd you become a Seahawks fan? You were young enough when Russell Wilson was winning Super Bowl.
When he was cooking.
Yeah.
No. So my uncle he's the one who introduced me to football.
Okay, cool.
And he was a Broncos fan.
Okay.
So I would just watch the Super Bowl at his house, and it was just that one year I said, I'm going to take the Bird team.
Yeah.
And that's how it came out.
Well,
But it was from then. And then, like, that, the next year, Christmas, I got a Rush jersey. So from then, it was kind of just locked in that, I like this team now.
Well,
but it wasn't really until, like,
that's a valid reason.
It wasn't until I was probably 14, 15, like, I was, like, actually starting to watch football, get into it.
Yeah.
So the next goal is to go to a Hawks game. Hopefully this year.
That'd be sweet.
We'll see.
Nice little stadium out there. But yeah, like that is how you pick a team. Like I know Chad's story. His grandparents had a place in Florida and they gave him creamsicle.
Literally, that's the true story is my family lived 10 minutes outside of Tampa, and my mom's side of the family, no one watched football. They were like NASCAR through and through. But there was like, oh, Chad loves football. So they would just buy me Buccaneers things as a kid, not knowing the Buccaneers were horrible.
Yeah.
Like they thought they were just doing nice things. It's like,
what kid wants an orange jacket?
Like I grew up in the 90s, man. Like maybe kids today wouldn't get told as bad as I did, but
bullying was still a thing back then.
Like it was encouraged in the 90s.
Yeah.
And like we had a pirate who put a sword in his mouth as a logo.
Yeah.
I literally remember being some kid was like, "Hey, cool jacket, fucking ears." Yeah. I was like 7.
Yeah. That's not nice.
No, it was not nice.
Yeah.
But I was also wearing metallic creamsicle jackets. I probably deserved that.
Yeah, you probably did. Yeah. Yeah, so until I was like 7, I was a Colts fan. And the Colts are white and blue. So my mom wanted to buy me and my brother winter jackets. And she's like, it was a white jacket with a blue logo on it. She's like, I'm not buying that for you. You're going to get dirty. So I was a Penguins fan. And I was like, well, that one's the same color as the Penguins. And then that's how I became a Steelers fan. And then they went to the Super Bowl a couple years later. And then then it started to pile on. But that was the normal Donald days.
Yes.
Your favorite.
Mafia man. I got through that Super Bowl. I don't care what anybody said.
Yeah. Well, I don't disagree with you. Yeah, that was bullshit. We won't even get into that. That's a conversation for a whole nother day. Um, NFL preseason week 3 is coming up, and then it's cut down day. Anybody that you're hearing or that you think is going to get cut that's going to be a little bit of a surprise to people?
Not really. I've heard a few. Honestly, I feel like right now with the Hawks, with the whole new coaching staff, it's a whole new. With Pete Carroll, we kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah,
Every run game, you're gonna have like 8 running backs in playing on the practice team. So
yeah,
with this whole new thing, it's like we don't really know what to expect. Like I know they're pretty stacked on the receiver side of it, and then even on like our with running backs, you got K9, you got Zach Charbonnet, Kenny McIntosh is stepping up now.
yeah.
So I really don't know what to expect coming into it. For me, it really just main thing I'm looking at is how well does Geno Smith play.
Yeah.
He's been the casualty of war.
Well, and like the thing, like you kind of probably walk in thinking the 49ers are the class of the division.
I think
you guys are set.
Seahawks will surprise.
I think the Seahawks are probably second. Like whether you pick the Seahawks or the Rams, like the Rams have a better quarterback, but not as deep of a roster. The Seahawks have no quarterback, but a pretty deep roster, I would say. So if Geno Smith can tap into what he was 2 years ago, then you guys are fine. Or even if he's just like 70% of what he was 2 years ago, that's probably 10 wins still.
I'm kind of just entertained to watch Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison put it together.
Yeah.
So that should be entertaining as well. That whole division is really entertaining with what it could be. I just hope we can top the 49ers this year. I've been struggling the last few.
Yeah. Well, it's tough, right? Like, but we're into the season of fantasy football, and next Monday, right down here at the very spot of the clubhouse, Kalen, myself, and if Chad's plane gets back in time, we're going to be hosting some fantasy leagues here, like live. They're going to do some live drafts, and we're going to do some live. What's that?
Might have to come through for that.
Yeah, we're going to be giving some live invites too. So definitely come through for that. We'll post that out. But if you're a commissioner out there and you want to bring your league here, hit us up because we got some deals for you. We can give you some prizing for your stuff too. So hit that. Are you a commissioner?
No.
Okay.
I just play. I usually win.
Yeah. Well, if you want the internet,
I'm a very addicted fan.
The internet's good here. If you want to bring the boys through and get yourself set up, we're all about it. We can get you hooked up. Any final thoughts before we sign out here?
I think Zach Wilson does not make the roster in Denver.
Zach Wilson does not make the roster in Denver. Okay. So are you thinking it's Stidham or are you thinking it's Nick?
I think they're going to roll with Knicks, and I think Stidham's going to be on the bench. And I don't know how you keep a Zach Wilson as your third quarterback. Like, if I'm going to have a clipboard holder, I want a guy who's in his, 30s, who's been around the block, who's done some things.
Yeah.
You can coach by 2 very young quarterbacks.
Right.
Like, Stidham played with Tom Brady. He's but sometimes with Tom Brady, wasn't probably the best coach.
Right.
And then he was kind of bounced around the league a little bit, but he never played in McDaniel's system. So I think you're going to bring in a veteran quarterback to be that guy.
Right.
And I don't think Zach Wilson has a home in the NFL.
Well, he hasn't been good, and he's not really in a situation to succeed right now. So I mean, maybe Zach Wilson plays for Saskatchewan next year or something. I don't know.
He has the arm for the CFL.
Yeah.
He has the mobility to play in the CFL.
Well, he's got the body type for the CFL too. Like the small quarterbacks usually do well in the CFL, but I don't know. Maybe he's got to be in that spring league or something, just work his way back.
But hey, I'm not gonna. I've been wrong on a lot of quarterbacks.
Well, 3 years.
I've made it very clear that Zach Wilson was not the guy.
You told me.
But I also said that Justin Herbert was not the guy, and I'll eat the L on that one.
Yeah, but you were right on Zach Wilson because you said never draft a virgin.
Never draft a virgin.
Do the Chargers have receivers?
No, they don't.
No.
You might be able to go out there right now and sign up.
Yeah, Josh Palmer and they drafted.
Williams.
They have Quentin Williams, or Quentin Johnson, sorry, and he was the first round pick a couple years ago. And then they got Ladd McConkey from Georgia.
Eckler's gone too now.
Eckler's in Washington. Yeah.
So what's going on out there?
Yeah.
They have a great new head coach, but No.
He's kind of a bitch, but
Where's
he-
khakis?
yeah. They're already calling for his head too. Like with all that Michigan scandal that's popping up right now, like Chargers fans are not feeling it. They want that guy gone already.
Meh.
And like that is not a passionate fan base in San
No.
Diego. Like, give me a break. But
So before we sign off, I have to tell you guys one thing. I was hoping it was going to be on one of the TVs here, but on the other side of the bar, they have on pickleball, which I didn't realize was a televised sport, but they were playing it in closed court, like glass court. And I was like, out of the
like
bartender.
full contact?
No,
Oh,
but I was like, where like the outline is, there's plexiglass like an inch from there.
that sounds dangerous.
And well, that's what I said. I said I would go through that thing. I am Clydesdale. Like I am not stopping at the done.
Yeah, but that's extreme pickleball.
Yeah,
I've never actually played. People seem to like it.
yeah. I've never played pickleball. I've never seen it on TV. That was the first time I ever saw it. And I was
Yeah.
just like, why is that wall so close to the court?
I never even knew.
And they're playing doubles. Like
And-
that's a recipe for disaster.
I feel like at that point it should be full contact. Like, if you're gonna do that, just do it right, and just, you'll figure it out.
I
But
was really hoping it's going to be on TV here because like I was pretty pumped to show you guys it, but I didn't want to like not tell anybody what I experienced. I was just trying to get a drink.
lots of cool things coming up, and then we're gonna get out of here because we're just about an hour. Next Monday, the Fantasy Advice Show, like I mentioned, September 5th, NFL kickoff party right here at the clubhouse. It's going to be lots of giveaways, lots of prizes, lots of different fun things going on. I've been told that the chefs are going to put together some kind of special platter, with it being Kansas City, Baltimore. I don't know what it is, but when we get the breaking news, we'll let you know. And then every single Monday Night Football after that, Chad Kalen and myself are going to be out here. We'll have a live show for pregame. It'll be all over the bar. But more importantly, we'll be giving a jersey out from one of the teams that's playing in those games. So lots of fun stuff to go on. Pay attention to the clubhouse. Pay attention to 100 Kellogg. Make sure you check out our guy, Aidan Persaud. His documentary dropped Saturday. If you haven't seen it, you're embarrassing yourself. Go check it out. And if you see this guy at any event, you know that you're at a premier event. Like, he only shows up for the good stuff.
Yeah.
That is not true. Yeah.
I'll show up for the bad stuff too. I'll make it look good.
Yeah, he's just being humble. But we know we went to the right game if we see his t-shirt there. So we appreciate everyone watching today. Check it out. Check us out next week, and we'll see everybody later.